What's up everyone, Vu of Envu Films, back with another video, and today I'll be talking about Ulanzi's new professional tripod called the Ulanzi Videofast Tripod, whatever. I'll put the name of the tripod here. First of all, what makes the tripod professional? I don't know. It has a full-blown like video head, pan and tilt, and has all of like the adjustment features you would expect. Also, the tripod is big enough, sturdy enough to handle bigger video camera rigs. But in my opinion, any tripod is professional as long as the person using that tripod is making money off of whatever it is he is doing with that tripod. So calling a piece of gear professional or not is simply just marketing BS, because at the end of the day, you could be filming with like a 20-year-old cell phone, and if you're making money filming with that 20-year-old cell phone, then I guess that 20-year-old cell phone is a professional video gear. So there's that. What's so special about this Ulanzi Videofast tripod versus the other tripods like it in the market? So you see a lot of other ones out there built with a similar fashion with like the multiple legs, and a lot of the older models takes a long time to set up. The Ulanzi one, first of all, it comes in carbon fiber and aluminum. Obviously the carbon fiber one is lighter, more easier on your weak ass muscles, which is obviously it's carbon fiber. So if you're a weak piece of trash like myself, the carbon fiber will be lighter. There's also an aluminum version, which is cheaper. So there's that for all of you dudes with bigger muscles and don't really care that your tripod looks cheap. But anyways, most other tripods like this take a long time to set up. So to set up, to pull the legs off, you're gonna have to unlatch the top, you're gonna unlatch the middle. As you've seen in many other newer tripods out these days that has one latch releasing systems for their tripods, Ulanzi's new tripod is no different. It's this one latch that you pull, and then the whole tripod extends just with that one latch. And then when you put it back, it's locked down with that same latch, making for easier setup and easier to pick back up so that you can go along your way and continue shooting whatever it is you're doing. I can see myself, if I ever have the blessed opportunity of filming, let's say like B-roll for the NFL, I would bring a tripod like this with me because of obviously the video head, obviously the sturdy legs, and obviously because I can pick it up and go and set up really quickly. Of course, I'll need a tripod this big, even though I'll be using a Sony mirrorless camera, because I'll be using a big ass telephoto lens to be able to capture what I want. Any other tripod other than like a Smallrig tripod that has these type of features is going to cost you like $1,200 to $1,300 or more. The carbon fiber version of this tripod with the fluid head is only $499. And then the aluminum version of this tripod is only $399. And it is a lot cheaper, clearly less than half the price of like a Manfrotto one. But then some of you might say, well, Vu, there's a Smallrig one available that in carbon fiber, and it's only $399. And I'll tell you right now, I know about the Smallrig tripod. I have one. And when I got it, the biggest disappointment I had was that it was a lot bigger than I thought it would be. And although it is $100 cheaper, the Ulanzi being more compact and the features it has on the fluid head itself is all worth that additional $100. And let me show you why. The different ways you can adjust this tripod head is obviously at the bottom of the head. You can twist the handle and you're able to level the head with the included bubble leveler. And then you also have 6 levels of tilt strength that you can adjust with this here. So obviously 6 will be the stiffest and 1 will be the least stiff, or I guess 0 would be super just easy to bring up and down. And then 6 is a lot harder. as you can see, the head returns to its normal level, and how fast or how strong that thing returns is based on this little adjustment here. So obviously when you set it to level 10, it's going to come back up a lot faster than, let's say, you setting at level 1 and it barely comes back at all. It almost just stays where it is. So if you want that return hydraulic system or whatever it is they use to be the strongest, you keep it at 10, and as you can see, it bounces back immediately without me, touching the handle at all. So that handles that. Again, very smooth, very fluid. And then down here is where you adjust how smooth the pan is. So you can adjust this, 6 different levels. So at 0, it's going to be very fast, very swift. And then at 6, it is going to be a lot tighter, a lot harder to pan. So the multiple levels of adjustment on this fluid head is what makes this tripod better than other similar ones in the market at this particular price point. Overall, it's more controlled, more robust fluid head than what the Smallrig offers. And to me, the fact that it's more compact, lighter, can get lower, and plus it has the additional options in the fluid head, it is well worth the additional $100. And of course, there's gonna be plenty of sales going on. So as it's just released, I won't be surprised if it'll be on sale. Other things of note, as always, in most of Ulanzi's tripods, it will come with a really nice, high quality, highly stitched carrying case for the tripod, straight out of a fresh Chinese sweatshop. Nothing wrong with that, guys. Everyone needs to make their money somehow, and we just can't hate on it. You know what I mean? So, any other items that I need to note? It also has a nifty little handle that you can attach directly onto the multiple little along the side of the tripod. So this little handle right here can go right onto the tripod. You screw it on by hand, and then you have a nice little carry handle of your tripod to make it easy to lug around, pick up whatever it is, and set up, which is very convenient. This will be my go-to tripod when I'm needing to do some serious shit. Some of you may have heard of Ulanzi, the brand, and some of you may not have. And a lot of you searching for tripods, you may be looking at some of these more well-known brands. Not to say that Ulanzi isn't as well-known, but maybe it doesn't sound as prestigious as, I don't know, Manfrotto or Suray, or for very, very, very lesser extent, Smallrig or some other trash like that. So you guys have to realize that human beings are very susceptible to marketing. I mentioned this before in many of my other videos. Marketing gets us every time. We get very invested into brands that we buy into. For example, I'll tell people that they have way too much faith in their brands. They pretty much worship their brands. And I myself am not innocent in that either. For example, I'm a Sony D-bag fanboy shooter. I use all Sony cameras. I would say that I have a lot of faith in what Sony does as a brand in terms of their innovations and technologies and stuff. I have a lot of faith in their autofocus, to the point that even though their screens are absolute dumpster trash, I just rely on the little box to know what is in focus. That is how much faith I have in Sony as a brand in that regard. But over the years on my YouTube channel, I will tell you that every time I say anything negative about any other brand, such as Canon, Panasonic, whatever, or anytime I say, this, that, and the other about Zhiyun gimbal versus DJI gimbal, the fanboys come out the woodworks to quickly defend their preferred brand of gear. And you will see this kind of tribalism, not just in video gear, but any other genre of consumer goods. Cars, video game consoles, Xbox versus PlayStation, Nintendo versus Sega, Nike versus Adidas, whatever. People always have their brands, and at times they worship their brands. People worship their brands more than they worship God himself, which is a problem for a different type of YouTube channel. With that said, the problem with a lot of gear that you see in this video YouTube niche is there are brands that pay a lot of money to bigger YouTubers, not myself. And you know what these big YouTubers are. And these YouTube videos will be reviews or sponsored videos on certain camera gear brands. And Ulanzi is not one of them. I've seen a lot of other Ulanzi reviews, and they do send stuff for review. I get things sent to me for review. I don't get paid any monetary funds, but I'll get like a tripod, such as this tripod I'm talking about today, for free to review on my channel. And I don't allow, simply because I got something for free, that I'm going to create a review that is glowingly positive. There's plenty of gear that I've received and I feel very bad about for not ever reviewing. I've received $400, $500, $600 items that I have never reviewed in my channel. Matter of fact, I tested it and I just didn't do a review. You know why? Because I had nothing really good to say about it. I didn't find a real good use for it. So it just sits in my basement doing nothing. I don't sell it off to make money off of it. Matter of fact, if I could, I would just send it right back to the company. So in that sense, I didn't feel like I'm stealing anything from this other company. It's just, I'm not going to showcase it on my channel if I don't think it is going to be a big benefit for you guys. And hey, maybe it would be, but I just wasn't sure how to present it as such because I don't find use in it myself. With that said, some of you might look at me and say, hey, Vu, why would this big, bulky looking tripod be any use to me? I'm like you. I shoot Sony, I shoot FX3, whatever. And there are many reasons why you will need a tripod like this. Matter of fact, I think every videographer, no matter what kind of camera, how big your camera is, you will eventually, if not right now, need a tripod like this. And let me explain to you really quick. For the very bottom of the barrel reason, you need to bring stuff like this when you're going to be shooting on some serious corporate stuff, when you're going to be shooting some, when you're doing gigs for bigger companies. Because if you are going to show up, let's say you have a Sony FX3 or ZV-1, whatever, camera will work perfectly fine as is. You're not rigging it out or whatever, and you show up with a tripod this big, literally a fraction of the size of this bigger Ulanzi one. This is actually another Ulanzi travel tripod, which I used on travel, used on weddings, used at even corporate gigs. Even this tripod that is holding up this camera filming right now is an Ulanzi one. And I have many other ones from Ulanzi that are all fantastic quality that I have been using the past 2-3 years. And I really don't have any strong preference for either one of these. I just kind of, whatever is available in front of my face, closest to me, I pick up and I use. So they're all good. So I'm very familiar with how good Ulanzi's quality is when it comes to their tripod craftsmanship. But the reason why you need something this big is you just don't want to look unprofessional. And like I said earlier, it doesn't matter what gear you use, you're professional as long as you're getting paid for what you're doing. But you want to give a good impression when you're showing up to these bigger gigs. And when you show up with something that looks kind of small, they start looking at you funny. They start asking you more questions. They start doubting your abilities, even though you truly know what you're doing. Having a big tripod, rigging out your gear, making it look bigger just for the sake of looking bigger is a really good way to present yourself when you're in a professional shooting environment. It does not mean your work will be any better. It just means that the people that you're working for will have more trust in you and maybe even feel more justified in paying you the money before they even seeing any of your deliverables. Secondly, even though you have a small camera, say FX3 or ZV-1, when you start rigging it out, so for my case, I like to shoot with anamorphic from time to time. When I'm filming my kids, when I'm filming my own personal projects, I want to use anamorphic lenses. Like I said earlier, Sony's screens are jive shitty. They are pretty much, for some odd reason, Sony makes all of these amazing Bravia TVs, all these crazy monitors and all that stuff. They make phone screens that has 4K resolution. And then when it comes to their camera screens, they literally buy it from the dollar store and they put it on there and it just looks like trash. Not only is it kind of small and they could have maximized like the borders more to make the screens even bigger, but like the overall contrast, the color depth and all that stuff in these screens are just really horrible to look at, especially if you're comparing it to like your cell phone screen or even Canon or Nikon screens. When I see other people using those cameras and I look at their screens, I'm like, dude, my screen looks like straight up smeared E. coli on a white wall. It is disgusting. And so I have to rig out my camera. I got to put a cage on it. I got to put a handle on it so I could put a monitor on it so I could see what the hell I am focusing on, because anamorphic lenses are all manual focus and I cannot focus on anything if I just use a standard ass trash Sony screen. And that is when I will need a bigger tripod, because even though, yes, these travel tripods are really stable, it's not going to be able to handle someone bumping into it. Say I'm filming my kids, if my son decides to just roll around and run into the tripod, that tripod might fall over. And yes, I can always, make it safe by hanging a bag on it, make it more sturdy and everything, but it's not going to be anywhere nearly as safe as an actual legitimate tripod such as this. I'm sure Ulanzi would like me to talk more about the amazing quick release legs and all that stuff, and it's great. It's just that it's nothing new. It's nothing new or special in this tripod market that does, because there's other tripods that does that now. But what other tripods don't do, obviously, is the size, the compactness, and for the price, the craftsmanship. This tripod can't be beat. So unfortunately, guys, like some of you may look at this and say, oh, well, I don't know why it's like so cheap, especially these other brands are like $1,200, $1,300. Again, you guys have to understand marketing. A lot of these things, brands may charge you extra, because of their brand, period. You are essentially playing a markup for them to advertise and to make their brand seem like a higher quality brand, a better brand, a well-known brand, and then you end up, you end up becoming willing to spend extra money on that, not realizing that you're just really paying for the advertisement. Or maybe there's a warranty that you get for your tripod or whatever that you may or may not ever use. So you end up paying like a couple $100 here and there extra for some type of warranty built into the brand that you're likely never going to call or use. And then when you do use, it doesn't work as smoothly as you thought it would. And so if you think about it, let's say you have questions of Ulanzi's quality in their work because you don't know the brand, or you think Chinese brands are rubbish or whatever. First of all, everything that you own is coming out of some Chinese factory. So everything, like 98% of the stuff you own is made in China. So if you are hating on Chinese factories, then you might as well not use anything that you own in your house. And two, you have to think about it this way. You could literally buy 3 of these tripods. You could literally buy 3 of these Ulanzi tripods versus spending $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 on these other brands. So you could just have 2 sitting in your basement as your warranty. So if your one tripod gets jacked up, you have the other one. Or you could just buy that one, it gets screwed up, and then now you have to ship that one out and get it fixed or whatever under warranty. I would definitely rather just, if I was that serious about it, just buy 3 of these and then just have a bunch of them just laying, behind there. And then I could also have, I could also use them for 3 different angles of, I could also use it for 3 different angles at a shoot, using 3 different tripods versus only having one. So just something to think about. You have to realize that brands are actively trying to brainwash you into believing in the brand, into worshiping them, for lack of a better word. The majority of human brains, there is a specific way it operates. There's a formula to this stuff. That's why people are easily manipulated by their government, some really good motivational speaker, cult. That's why people fall into these traps. That's why people are easily brainwashed, because the brain has a formula in terms of how it works, and marketing companies know about this, and they use it to the best of their ability to get you to buy in to their brand and defend the brand with all your heart in the YouTube comments, in my videos. It is what it is, guys. And just these days, the only thing that separates brands to me is their innovation. So anytime a brand is doing something innovative, I get really interested in trying out their product. Other than that, I'm not trying to double dribble, brand balls on my chin. I'm not doing that. I don't believe in that. And, yes, I really like Ulanzi as a brand. You've seen me promote a lot of their stuff here on my channel. I'm not sponsored by them. They've been sending me stuff to review, to try out, since my YouTube channel was like at 500 subscribers. So we have a really good relationship. They've been supporting my channel, so I don't mind shouting out Ulanzi whenever I get the chance. And anytime I have any issues with their stuff, I message them and I tell them, hey, like, you could probably do this better with this particular item. And I buy stuff from them all the time. I buy lights and things like that I think that I need, and I don't want to ask them for them to just ship it to me for free or something like that, even though I could, but I just buy it straight up. And so I appreciate Ulanzi for sending this awesome tripod to me. And I just know that I would not be recommending or talking about this tripod on my channel unless I thought it was actually like a legit piece of gear. And this tripod is definitely legit, just like any of their other tripods that I have had the pleasure of using. So with that said, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it helped you make a purchase decision on your next big tripod. And until next time, lighten up. Hey man, what cage is that? This is actually the Condor Blue cage for the Sony FX3, FX30. This thing is built like an absolute tank. It has a leveler here. The handle has a record button. You can't go wrong. Smallrig sent you a Sony ZV-E1K for review. You do that yet? Nah man, I don't got time for that. This is a $70 cage. I featured it really quick on one of my videos, but I'm not gonna do a whole dedicated video on it. Oh my God. You're a trap. They send you K for free. You need to do full review right away. I don't care if it's free or not. It's a $70 cage. I'm not about to spend 8 hours doing a YouTube review for an item that is $70. If you want to be the best, if you want to be professional, if you want to continue collab with Smallrig, you need to do full review. It's kind of interesting that Smallrig, a company that relies on videographers as their main customer base, buying their accessories, yet at the same time, Smallrig doesn't even value the work of their main customer base, which is videographers. They say you unprofessional. Is that right? Let me show you. Okay then, can you send a message to them for me? What message? This.